Guys, could you please confirm that you can hear well? Hi, Irina. Yeah, great. We will start in 1 minute. So today we will work on the heart and the heart structure, the circulation, everything related to the heart and how the heart play an important role in blood flow throughout the body. So the first slide, we can consider this as a do now activity or warming up. You know well that the heart has 2 sides and 4 rooms or 4 chambers. So could you please write in the chat box why this? Exactly, Hannah. One of the answers, it has a double circulatory system. So let me check. 2 sides from Sophie, she wrote 2 sides. They are oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in arteries and veins. So what is the importance of this, Sophie? The 4 heart chambers from Rena and 4 valves work together to separate the oxygenated blood from the deoxygenated blood. This is perfect. So now you know that we have 2 sides, oxygenated side and deoxygenated side. The right side of the heart carries deoxygenated blood and the left side of the heart carry oxygenated blood. Today we will understand everything about circulation, and the most important part of the lesson is the questions and the exam questions with the marking scheme, and we will try harder to finish everything related to the heart this class. Exactly, Sophie. This is just to diffuse oxygen in and carbon dioxide out of the body, and we will understand more about this. So, the heart. The heart is one of the major organ in the human body located between the 2 lungs, and the main function of the heart is to pump blood around the body. So if you hold your hands in front of you and make a fist, squeeze and relax. How long can you do this? Squeeze and relax, squeeze and relax. Definitely, because the muscles in our hand is not the same as the cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle is the muscle of the heart wall. So walls of the heart are made of cardiac muscle. That's why when you try to do this, you feel exhausted after maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, it depends. But the cardiac muscle uh, only found in the heart, and it never tires but can't tolerate a lack of oxygen. So the main fuel, or we can say the power of the cardiac muscle, is the oxygen and definitely glucose, guys. So oxygen and glucose will feed the muscle of the heart, which is the cardiac muscle. Please remember this name, cardiac muscle, because we will use it several times in answering questions. So let's start by understand the heart first by watching this video. I will play this video, and I want just to make sure that you can hear the sound of the video, then we will continue.
And now to our lab for some amazing body experiments. Ugh! Whoa!
Just don't try anything
Can you hear it, guys? Yeah, okay, okay.
you see here at home.
Today, it's your body's ticker, the heart.
Zond is having a little lie down.
You could actually try this bit at home. It's quite nice.
But what you can't try at home is hooking Zond up to an electrocardiogram, which is what I've done. It's basically a heart monitor. And each one of these spikes on the display is a separate beat of the heart. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. Even if you're just lazing around like Zond, your heart never stops beating. It beats even when you're asleep. As Zond seems to be illustrating perfectly.
You can see the spikes, and his pulse is around 70.
OK, Zond, demonstration over.
What? What demonstration? I've been awake the whole time.
Now, your heart was beating when you were a 6-week-old embryo inside your mum, just the size of a raisin.
Your heart is made up of millions of tiny cells, and each one of those cells beats on its own.
And here's one of them. This is a single heart cell. It just won't stop beating, even without its mates.
Absolutely brilliant, isn't it, Zond? Zond? Zond!
What?
It's not nap time. Now, if you ask more of your body, say when you exercise...
Exercise?
Yes, Zond, exercise. Your heart will step up and help you out. Right, give me some nice big star jumps, please, Zond.
When you exercise, your muscles need lots more blood and oxygen to provide this, the heart speeds up. As you can see, Zond's heart rate is much higher now than when he was lying down. Even at rest, it beats around 100,000 times a day.
So, you've seen how your heart beats at different rates depending on what you're doing. But how does your heart actually work? How does it get all that blood where you need it, when you need it? Well, we're going to show you.
Check this out. This is a real heart.
It's from a pig, but don't let that put you off. It's very similar to a human heart, and it's a pump with no equal.
Blood arrives in the heart all tired and out of oxygen.
The heart pumps it straight to the lungs, where it collects new oxygen.
Back at the heart, it's given a mega pump, which scoots it all around the body.
And there's no chance of it going the wrong way thanks to the heart's special valves.
And if you add up all the blood each of these beats pushes around the body, it comes to 7,200 litres a day. That's enough to fill 93 bathtubs.
We've only got one bathtub. And if you fill it with blood, where am I going to have my bath?
You need a bath. Now, to show you how it manages to do that, we're going to cut our pig's heart open.
Looking inside the heart is absolutely amazing.
The muscle here is very thick. This makes the heart really strong, and that's how it's able to pump blood right around your body.
But it couldn't do it without one important bit of the heart, the valves, and you can see them here. Their job is to make sure the blood goes in the right direction.
To see how the heart does its incredible job, we've set up our real heart, using plastic tubes as blood vessels and green water to do the job of your blood.
OK, Chris, lift your bucket up a little bit.
First, the heart fills with blood. It does this every time it beats.
Oh, look at that.
Look at it fill. OK, and squeeze now.
Zond's hands are doing what the heart does by itself thousands of times a day.
And the heart is clever because
Everything's going into that bucket and nothing's going back into Chris's bucket. The heart only pumps blood in one direction.
and that's thanks to the valves, not to Harry Styles.
But there's one question that still remains.
How powerful is the heart, and how far can it squirt blood?
I filled the heart. Now, you hold that bit. I'm going to get the bucket.
Give me that. Quick, quick, quick. Get the bucket.
OK. See if you can get it.
About a foot?
Yeah, about half a metre.
OK, go. Yay!
It's not bad, but I think we can go further. Let's refill the heart.
OK, quick. Fill it up again.
But Zond's squeeze is not nearly as strong as a heartbeat.
Just aim it all in the bucket. Ready?
OK, 3, 2, 1.
Zond gets quite a lot beyond the bucket.
We just didn't get any in the bucket, but I still think that's pretty impressive. About 2.5 metres.
2.5 metres is pretty good, but a live heart actually beats powerfully enough to squirt blood more than 10 metres.
10 metres? That's more powerful than my best water pistol. Luckily, Zan's not 10 metres away.
So, what we did now is that we understand how the heart is really powerful and how it sends the blood to the rest of the body organs, and it could send the blood up to 10 meters long. So let's go through the structure of the heart, and we should understand every single part of the chambers, every single part of the rooms that we have in the heart, the structure of the muscle cells, the thickness of each chamber, and how it could be really beneficial to send the blood throughout the body or to the lungs. So we need to know that certain structure of the heart will enable us to understand the flow of blood around the heart. Let's start with the vena cava. Vena cava is the largest veins that collect the blood from the upper part and the lower part of the body to the heart. So usually, guys, instead of being confused, we will start the circulation. Usually we are starting the circulation from the right side. And I will give you just a kind of abbreviation for the circulation in the heart. And you will remember everything by this abbreviation. The abbreviation is R Vava L Vava. You will say definitely what is that? We will understand what is that by the end of this presentation. R definitely stands for right, L for left. So we will start from the right side. And already we started by collecting the deoxygenated blood from the upper part of the body and the lower part of the body, which is superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. Superior vena cava and inferior vena cava. So instead also of being confused between vena cava, is it superior, is it inferior? Because by the end or before the exam, you might feel confused between the directions. Link superior to super, which is always up, super, so superior related to the upper part of the body. However, inferior related to the lower part of the body. If you memorize that superior means upper part of the body, you will definitely remember the opposite, which is the inferior vena cava. So the first stage is collecting blood, which is deoxygenated blood from the upper part of the body through superior vena cava, lower part of the body, which is inferior vena cava, to the right atrium. To the right atrium. This room is the right atrium, and this one is the right ventricle. So now we almost finished the right side of the heart. So superior vein, again, superior. I want you to memorize everything with me now. So we will start from the right side. Superior vena cava, inferior vena cava collects blood to the right atrium. Then we have here valves. Valves are flap-like structure open in one direction, and this is open to one direction. This is to send the blood from the right atrium to the right ventricle, preventing the blood from going back in the opposite direction. And you cannot imagine how many times they asked about the valves and the function of the valves in the exams. And it is one sentence equals 1 mark. It prevents backflow of blood. It's here to ensure that the blood is going in the right direction. So again, superior vena cava, inferior vena cava collects deoxygenated blood and send the blood to the right atrium. when the right atrium has the appropriate amount of blood, valves will open in one direction, sending the blood to the right ventricle and then closed, guys. Now the heart will, this is the right atrium, this is the right ventricle. Now the heart will pump, sending the blood through the pulmonary artery to the lungs for gas exchange. So until this point, we have deoxygenated blood in the lungs. We have the gas exchange process and the blood will coming back to the heart. That's why Sophie, Rina mentioned and Hannah mentioned that we have double circulation, because the blood will going back to the heart again, not to the body, through the vein called pulmonary veins. So pulmonary artery send the deoxygenated blood to the lungs, and pulmonary vein deliver the oxygenated blood after gas exchange to the heart again. Now, the blood will go back to the heart through the pulmonary vein, and here we have an exception for arteries and veins. Usually arteries carry oxygenated blood, with an exception for this artery, which is the pulmonary artery. So the pulmonary artery carry deoxygenated blood, and this is the exception in the human body. Because don't say, sir, you mentioned that the pulmonary artery carry deoxygenated blood, so all arteries carry deoxygenated blood. No, all arteries carries oxygenated blood, except two arteries, to be honest. One of them we learned now about, which is the pulmonary artery, and I will talk about the other one when we reach the reproduction process. The blood return back to the through the pulmonary vein, and then it will collected in the left atrium. Then valves, same concept, same sequence. Valves will open, sending the blood to the left atrium. As you can see, guys, the left atrium has the largest thickness. So this is the thickest chamber in the heart. Why? Why this is the thickest chamber? Because we want this chamber to pump the blood or deliver the blood to the rest of the body through this largest artery, which is called aorta. Now we have finished everything in the circulation. So from the right atrium to left from the left atrium to the left ventricle, and then through the aorta. We have here the valves, as we said, 4 types of valves. Those valves have almost the same structure, but those valves are a bit different, but there is no need to talk about the structure of the valves now. Now, we have a question. Valves is work by magic? Definitely not. We have tendons, and all of the tendons here, and one day I will dissect the heart with you here. I'm sorry, it will be through a Zoom session, but I can dissect the heart with you. I can send you a video through Sarah for the heart dissection, just to save time. And you can see all of these structures definitely in the pig's heart, in the cow's heart, because it is almost the same. So tendons control the movement of the valves, and the last structure is the septum. As we said at the beginning, we have 2 sides of the heart, the deoxygenated side and the oxygenated side. The barrier or the separator between both is a septum. It is a muscular wall prevent mixing blood. Why do we need this? Because we need high concentration of oxygen in the left side in order to be delivered to the rest of the body. If we have mixing or mixture of blood, this will definitely reduce the amount of oxygen to be delivered to all of the respiring tissues. That's it. This is the circulation, and this is the heart, or actually not the circulation, this is how the heart works. Let me remind you with the R, Vava, L, Vava now, because now I think you can summing up everything in the circulation by remembering those abbreviations. Right vena cava, right vena cava, then right atrium, then right ventricle, right as a common factor for all of them, and finally blood will be sent through the pulmonary artery for gas exchange. After gas exchange, blood will be delivered to the left side of the heart from the pulmonary vein, then the left atrium, and left ventricle, finally to the aorta. So if you remembered R Vava, L Vava, I think you will remember everything in the circulation with no doubt. You need to add the idea of the valves, you need to add the idea of pumping action, but at least you will remember the sequence. R Vava. Guys, could you please mute your mic? Now we have two questions, and I will keep like 2 minutes to answer those questions in the chat box, and I'm waiting for your answers. Explain why the left ventricles contains more muscle and is therefore thicker than the right ventricle. Why do you think, sorry, blood in the vena cava is dark red, but blood in the aorta is bright red? Could you please send me your answer via chat box, and I will check all your answers now. The first answer from Sophie, she mentioned that the left ventricle has to pump blood around the body, but the right ventricle only needs to pump blood to the lungs. This is perfect. And if you need, Sophie, to add something, you could add through pulmonary artery if the question is out of 3 marks, but this is perfectly fine. Rakan, he mentioned one is oxygenated and the other is deoxygenated. I think you need to clarify more, Rakan. This is for the second question. Yeah. Okay, great. I got it. I thought that you're answering the first question. That's great. Christian, he mentioned, I can see the question clearly on my screen. There is a black box covering it. I think this is an internet problem. I will share the screen again. Rina answered. Okay, Andra Kent. Okay, just a second. I will stop sharing this, guys, and I will share the screen again. Is it okay now? Okay, great. Misona, if I pronounce your name right, left ventricle pumps more blood than the right. You mean the right? Yeah, great. So just to save time, guys, because we need to finish the presentation, I will show you the answer for the two questions. That's what you wrote. Thank you so much for the ones who answered this question. And for the second one, actually, we wrote more about hemoglobin, and it became brighter when it carrying more blood, more oxygen. So in veins, as you mentioned, the capillaries in tissues have removed all of the oxygen, so it became darker. However, in the arteries, like aorta, for example, we have more oxygen. That's why it became brighter. We can see some answers. Yes, like Sophie, she mentioned a lot. Deeply proud of you. And Salma. Yes, Salma mentioned that the left ventricles. Okay, exactly, exactly. You might need to compare between the right and the left if needed. It depends, but this means that you understand the question. Okay, so could you please try to answer this quiz quickly with me? Write in the chat the part of the heart the arrow is pointing to. Let's start with this. No, I'm talking about the part, not about the type of blood, Salma. Yes, exactly, Sophie. The part of the heart. I know this is the deoxygenated blood here, but I want the part of the heart. So, yes, exactly. No, this is the right side. So nice that you answered this. Guys, in the heart, we are talking about the direction in an opposite way, like you are in front of the mirror. Okay, so this side is the right side, and this side is the left side. Okay, so this is the right atrium. What about this structure? I can see a lot of right answers. Exactly, septum. Septum. Okay. Rina, Sufi. Yes. Rachel. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next one. What about this largest artery coming from the left side? The name of this? Aorta, Ryan. Perfect. Rakan. Aorta. Exactly. Manahil. If I pronounce your name right. Yeah. Alison. Perfect. Perfect. Salma. No, Salma, this is aorta. This is aorta. The artery that takes blood away from the heart to the rest of the body, this is aorta. Okay? And what about this? Please focus. Please focus. It delivers the blood to the left side, not to the right side. So this is what? Exactly, Sophie? No. No, Rakan. Rakan, those are the ventricles. Those are the ventricles. And I'm asking about this one. This is a vein. Deliver the blood to the left atrium. I'm sorry if the arrow in this side, but I'm trying to check your understanding. This is the pulmonary vein. This is the pulmonary vein. This is the arrow. This is the pulmonary vein. Okay. What about this one? Can you see the arrow now? Rakem, can you see the arrow now? This is the left ventricle. This is the left ventricle. Oh, I'm sorry. I pressed twice, but this is the valves. And what about this one? This is the inferior vena cava. And what about this one? This is the pulmonary artery. This one is the pulmonary artery. And this one finally is the right ventricle. Now, we need to talk about the heart itself and how it pumps blood around the circulatory system and about the muscles of the heart. The muscles of the heart that, like what we mentioned, called cardiac muscle, and it keeps pumping blood around your body even when you are asleep, and that's what we watched in the video. Let's go to the next slide. I will give you 1 minute to read this, and I will show you how it works in the diagram. So what we explained, the blood is pumped around the body by the heart, and this might take about 30 seconds of blood to go once around the body. Here in the explanation, if we started from the left side, with this is the left side of the heart, what route does the blood follow to complete one circuit of the body? When we started from the left side, the pulmonary vein taking the blood from the lungs, if we put the lungs here, the pulmonary vein takes the blood from this side, enter the left atrium, then the left ventricle, and finally through the aorta. Let's understand this. It will go from the aorta to the rest of the body cells in a form of oxygenated blood. And now all of the body cells will be supplied with oxygen. After respiration, inside every single respiring tissue, blood will go back through the inferior and superior vena cava to the heart. And then it will be pumped to the lungs. And gas exchange will happen here. So the lungs will take the carbon dioxide, giving the red blood cells all of the oxygen, and the complete circulation happen by returning the blood to the pulmonary vein again. Now we have oxygen poor blood on the right side and oxygen-rich blood on the left side of the body. And this is the journey of blood through the circulatory system. That's why we named it double circulation. So during one complete circuit, guys, of the body, blood passes through the heart twice. It will pass as oxygenated blood through the left side or from the left side to the rest of the body cells, and as a deoxygenated blood in the right side, then to the lungs for gas exchange. That's why we named this as a double circulation. So the question is, what are the two jobs that the heart carries out during this double circulation? This is a question. Let's watch the video. I will stop sharing because I guess I shared it. Yes. Just a second. Let's watch this video. And we will continue working on the last couple of slides.
Let's dive right in, I'll tear it apart. 4 chambers, let's look at them all. Quick triums and 2 ventricles. Left side big and right side is small. Count with me 4 blood vessels. Let me explain to you how this works. Blood without O2 enters first into the right through the vena cava. Then it goes here, you see this atria. Now to the ventricle sharply. Needs to get out the pulmonary artery. From there it goes to the lungs. It's got O2, so blood takes some. Now back to the heart again. This time through the pulmonary vein. Now the left side pumps way stronger and sends to the body out the aorta. Let's dive right in, I'll tear it apart. 4 chambers, let's look at.
So this was something nice from my point of view about the size of the right side and the size of the left side. And now I want you to answer this question in the chat box. Why does the heart beat twice and the pulse beat once? What do you think? Exactly. I will give you 30 seconds and then I will show you the answer. Raken, if the screen is working fine now? Yeah, okay. I think the idea of the chat box when I checked the questions. Okay. Waiting for you. When I checked your answers, I think it became black, and I don't know if it is an internet problem or not. Anyways, I will show you everything, and please let me know if there is a problem. Okay. So let's see the answer. Yeah, pulsation is only once because when the heart beats twice, it counts as no problem, Andre. Please check the recorded session with Sarah. No problem. And the heart beats twice because blood is flowing into the heart and out of the heart. This is For you mean the muscle contraction and relaxation, as Sophie wrote? So that's perfect. Let's go through the exam questions, guys, which is the last part of the session. If we finish this from the PowerPoint presentation, I will share with you some exams questions from another sheet, but let me check with you those questions. Which blood vessel, A, B, or C, takes blood to the lungs? Please focus. To the lungs. So as we said, it will go to the lungs through this pulmonary artery, and we will write the answer here, B. Name parts D and E shown in figure 1. What's D and what's E? Both in the left side, so this is the left atrium, and E is the left ventricle. The heart is part of the circulatory system. Name one substance transported by the blood in the circulatory system. Any substance transported by the blood in the circulatory system. What do you think? Any substance. It could be chemical substance, and we have a lot of chemicals. Okay, fine. A lot of you wrote oxygen. Some of you wrote sugar, but I think it will be more professional or more biological if we wrote glucose. Yes, Rakan, glucose, perfect. Okay. What is the main type of tissue in the heart wall? As I told you, it is frequently repeated question. So what do you think? The main type of tissue in the heart wall? What type of muscle, Sophie? Cardiac muscle, exactly. This is right, cardiac muscle. A lot of you wrote the right answer, cardiac muscle. So here we can write any chemical substance such as oxygen or glucose. And on this question, we can write the cardiac muscle. Okay, let's go to question 2. This diagram in front of you showing a section through the heart, and I want you to label A, B, C, and D using the word bank or this box. So what's A? What's A? Is it artery, vein, ventricle, capillary, atrium? A is the artery, one of the largest artery, which is the aorta, but we don't have aorta here, so we will write artery. What's B? B is the ventricle. What's C? C is the atrium. And the plural of atrium, guys, atria, because you might find a question talking about 2 atria. So don't be confused. And what's D? Exactly, D is the vein. Let's go to now we have covered everything related to the heart and the heart structure. I want to share with you another sheet to answer together. Question 1. This question is about the heart. Why is the heart described as an organ? As if I'm asking you what is the definition of an organ. What do you think? group because the heart consists of group of different tissues working together, performing a certain function. And this is the idea of the definition. This question, I can say it's unrelated to the heart itself. It's related to the level of organization lesson. Question B, valves in the heart keep the blood flowing through the heart in one direction. And the diagram below shows the heart with one of the valves labeled. Explain the effect, and it is 4 marks question. I will give you 2 minutes trying to answer this question. Explain the effect on a person if the valve labeled in the figure above developed a leak. If there is a leak in this valve, what will happen? And it is 4 marks question. Yeah, as some of you start writing the answer, but look, if you will talk about the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood from mixing, it's not the function of this valve. So you need to mention that some blood would flow back into the ventricle and will not leave the ventricle. So less oxygenated blood will be pumped to the rest of the body, less respiration rate, less require of oxygen, and the person would become out of breath because of the lactic acid will build up, because less energy transferred to the rest of the body. I'm not talking about the function of all valves. I'm talking about this valve only. This valve opened in one direction to deliver oxygenated blood to the body cells, to all of the respiring tissues. So you need to talk about this function specifically, not about the general function of the valves. You got it? Let's go to the next question. Faulty heart valves can be replaced using biological or mechanical valves. The faulty valve is replaced during an operation, and he's giving you the facts of biological valves and the mechanical valves. Could you please read the difference between biological valves and mechanical valves? Then describe the advantage and disadvantage of this young woman of having biological heart valve instead of mechanical heart valves. So what is the advantage and disadvantage? This question is 4 marks question. What do you think? What is the difference between biological and mechanical valves, so you can decide what is the advantage and disadvantage of having biological valves instead of mechanical? In another way, what is the advantage of biological valves and what is the disadvantage of biological valves? you will definitely realize that the biological valves reduces the risk of blood clots, because here he's telling you for the mechanical valves we need to take anti-clotting drugs. So this is number one. It reduced also the risk of bleeding. For example, during pregnancy, because she will take anti-clotting drugs if she's using mechanical drugs. So during pregnancy, during delivery, during birth, definitely she might be exposed to a massive bleeding. This is one of the advantage. This will also no need in the same idea, no need to take anti-blood clotting. And also the idea of having low risk of rejection. All of these are advantage. However, some of the disadvantage that it might be rejected. We cannot say it's 100% with zero risk of rejection. And we can say also we may have to go through surgery more than once, because we might need to replace those kinds of biological valves. And the problem here that we need, because look, human donor. So we might need to wait for a human donor, and it's not that easy for the heart valves. This is the idea of this question. Let's go to question 2. We have answered this question. I think the highest oxygen concentration in the blood vessel which is coming from the lungs to the heart, which is D. Blood pressure is a measure of the force of the blood against the walls of the blood vessels. Which blood vessel transport blood at the highest pressure? The highest pressure needed in C to be delivered to the rest of the body. So the answer here is C. I want your answer here, guys. What is the correct order for blood flowing through the heart to the lungs? Without taking a look on the diagram, what is the answer? No, Sophie. From the heart to the lungs. Think about the other side. Is it okay now? Definitely from the right side, from the right atrium to the right ventricle. That's what we said, from the right atrium to the right ventricle, and then to the lungs. This is, again, guys, this is the right side. R vava L vava. Don't forget, this is the left side of the heart. Let's go to another question. This question out of 6 marks. And I want you to finish answering this question in 3 minutes, because I want to answer with you question 3 before the end of the lesson. A heart attack is caused when the heart muscle cells don't get enough oxygen, causing the cells to die. Statins and stents are 2 treatments used to reduce the risk of someone having heart attack. Evaluate the use of statins compared with the use of stent to reduce the risk of heart attack. Okay. Honestly, we did not mention this, but I will mention the idea of statins and stents, the advantage and disadvantage. Statins are a kind of drugs we can use in order to decrease the blood cholesterol level. However, stents are a kind of network from specific type of metals just to open the lumen of the artery or the coronary arteries. So if this is the coronary arteries, we will have a kind of stent to open it. It is like a metal structure. We are inserting it in the coronary artery just to open the artery if there is any accumulation of lipids or fat deposits. However, statins are drugs, and it might have a kind of side effects, but the main target of statins is to decrease blood cholesterol. So the advantage of statins, it's easy to take. It decreases blood cholesterol. It slows down buildup of fatty materials in arteries, and low cost. There is no operation. There is no surgical operation. There is no endoscopy. However, the disadvantage of statins, it's like any drug, guys. It might have side effects such as muscle pain. It might cause muscle pain, and it might take time to react in the body, and it might be taken for a long time. And there is a problem if we forgot to take the drug. However, for stent, the advantage of stent, all of the blocked arteries will be open immediately because it is a mechanical treatment. Okay, and the flow of the blood in the heart muscles will increase immediately. However, there is a risk of infection from the operation, and like any risk for any surgical operation, it might cause a kind of bleeding, it might cause a heart attack, it might cause blood clot. All of these might happen in the operation. So if you wrote two advantage and two disadvantage for both of them, statins and stents, you will get the full mark of this question. Let's go to question E. Many people who survive a heart attack get out of breath easily when they exercise gently. Explain why a heart attack survivors get out of breath easily. This is related to the idea of the heart attack. Heart attack means that the muscle of the heart cannot contract. So less oxygen reach cells. So breathing rate increases. If you have any kind of blood clot, or if any one of your family has a history of blood clot or angina or heart attack, he felt like there is a pain in the chest and back of the chest. He cannot breathe well. He cannot do any kind of activities. He cannot even walk properly. And that's because the heart itself starts to respire anaerobically. It cannot respire aerobically because there is a blockage in the heart muscle. Let's go through this question. I will not say anything. I try to help you in the previous questions because that's what we didn't take. But I want you to think about F and G, and this is the last question in the session today. This is an extra edition, guys. Try to think. I will let you know the answer, but try to think about stem cells. As we said before, stem cells are undifferentiated cells. This is 2 marks question and this is 2 marks question. So show me your answers. I will give you 2 minutes to finish this. Exactly. Great job, Sufi. Okay, Salma. Look, I think we can take the first mark if we wrote about the definition of the stem cells because he did not mention this here. So we can write that the stem cells are undifferentiated cells and it can develop into different types of cells like all what you mentioned to become specialized. Let's go to the second question. Give two advantages of using stem cells made from the person's own cells rather than using embryonic stem cells. Okay. I'm not asking about the function. I'm asking about the advantage because we answered already about the function. I want you to think about the advantage of using stem cells made from the person's own cells. Whenever you found this word in any question, you should think all of a sudden about the rejection. So cells won't be rejected because you are taking cells from the body and there is no risk of damage to embryo. And there is no ethical issues in using person's own cells. So I gave you 3 choices or 3 alternatives. You can pick 2 of them. The first one, there will not be a rejection. And number 2, there is no risk of damaging the embryo or embryonic cells. And number 3, there will no unethical issues surrounding this investigation or this procedure. Okay. Thank you so much for the session of today. I really enjoyed the lesson. See you next week with another lesson. Thank you so much, guys.